Hello guys. Probably take a little while before I get started. I just out for a walk and I'm kind of in this reflective mode, so I probably will just go on a huge rant here. And I don't really know where to start, but I can tell you that I was gonna say the last couple of days, but probably longer. I mean, for quite a while now, I've been watching a video here and there, you know, about mostly guys, but there's some women also talking about, like, where are we going in life, in world, with huge layoffs, and the fact that believing in, we do need a job, obviously everyone needs a job, but believing that a job will suddenly be like your savior, and in many ways it will be your savior, because we need to stand on our own feet and contribute something to the table. And it's just such a strange time. You do everything that is, and this is what I hear a lot of people talking about, you can do everything that is expected from you in terms of studying, good result, good grades, good experience, but it's still not enough, you know. It's never enough. I'm just looking back at all the jobs that I've applied for the past month. Now today is September 1st, and I also want to say that I am really an optimist. You know, I'm always going to remain an optimist, but there's just, and I'm talking people like in my age or young, or especially the younger and older. But the older, as in boomer generation, they just don't even talk about this, what I'm saying, with because they will never understand. For them it's just like, you can take a job, a hard labor job, paying you, I don't know, whatever money, and just work hard. I've seen so many comments on people talking about, it's not about working hard, it's not about that anymore. It doesn't matter working hard. I see some comments, people talking like, I have 3 jobs and it's not enough. It's just getting by. It's just really getting by. I saw some people talking about, he was working in Silicon Valley, you know, with a tech giant, and the housing just impossible to get in. Impossible to get a home, impossible to start a life. Just like I'm thinking, and this is sad, you know. I'm like mid-30s, always performed well, had different jobs, and now kind of trying to find really my field, what I really want to focus on, well educated and everything. It's just like there is not a lot of response when searching for jobs and stuff like that. And I know many people are going through the same thing, and it's kind of like a joke. That's what I kind of feel. In a way, life is a scam, and I think a lot of people live in such a bubble that it will take a lot for people to wake up. And what do I mean with that? Okay, I mean that, look, this nice apartment, by the way, here. This probably, I don't know, it looks very expensive to live here, but many people are so stuck in the mindset of scarcity. I saw such an interesting philosophical video about this a while ago. It's about, you know, we think that there's scarcity. So we have the mindset like we are manipulated in a way that we have to consume and spend our hard-earned money. Most of the time is very underpaid, but literally on crap, things that we don't need. Just think about it, how often things break. Clothes, stuff, gadgets, electronics or whatever. Yeah, now I'm having an iPhone. I have had that since a long time, but I think that they are relatively good products, I have to say. But in terms of like consumption, materialism, fast fashion, we are conditioned that we have to buy new things all the time, and they don't last. You know, it's nice to have new stuff. I think I've talked about this before. But we think it's going to, yeah, it does something to us, obviously. We have a little bit of a gratification. We feel good like when we buy something new and it's nice. I mean, of course, what doesn't matter what it is. But I feel as if jobs underpaid, of course, unless you are something really specific, like a surgeon or, I mean, even there are so many layers. I was gonna say software development, but this also, I know it's a lot of changes in this field. And I will say one thing, it's great that a lot of job you can actually work from home, and I think that is nice. But it's also kind of depressing how society, you know, this, have you heard about this thing with brain rot? I know I'm going a little bit all over here, but I need to just rant this off my chest, you know. People sitting inside of overpaid apartments. A lot of people are single. I'm talking a lot of men single, and you would know dating life is it's just ridiculous. A lot of women are just like bots. Have to provide, you have to give them what they want, and they have to look pretty, and not always for you, but for in some way competing with other women for something better. And it's social media, it's to build up a lifestyle that is not really real. It may be real, but it has to show off so much. It has to show up beauty, wealth, and it's fake filtered images. And back to now the thing about guys, a lot of hardworking men that wanna do well, wanna contribute, they like stuck in a little small capsule, you know, in an apartment, overpriced like I said, and we're just working in the shadows. Never be able to buy something of our own because just there are all these speculations. And then hello man, I'm doing good. I'm just have a lot on my mind, you know. I just have a lot of stuff on my mind. I'm recording this live stream from Portugal, and that's where Portugal come into the picture here. I want to say, is life really better anywhere else? Because Portugal it's unreasonably expensive here compared to what it used to be. It's not really that cheap as people say, but when I take that in consideration, I compare it to other countries, like Western countries, a lot of things is still better here. You can go out, eat dinner, lunch. It's in Porto. You can still go out, eat relatively cheap. You can go out and drink beers like in the right places, very cheap. You can, like those stuff, go out, have coffee. I think I've talked about this in other videos. Those things are really, really awesome. You can do activities very affordable here. But the thing with housing is changing a lot because there is a huge influx of foreigners like me. You're lucky if you're finding a place for I'm talking about finding your own place around the city center. Then you're extremely lucky if you find something around like a 1-bedroom apartment. Let's say 800 and up. And a little bit outside you can find the better prices, but then you're really, really lucky, you know. I have a lot of realizations about going between Sweden and Portugal. Where can you have a better life? And all gets down to, what are your income? And of course, I am not I have to just say that I am not a fan of taxes anymore. People say, but come on, pay high taxes, you can have this and that, you have healthcare, you have education, you have better roads. Really? Is it really better roads? I mean, I can complain on so many things in Sweden. Is it better healthcare really anymore? Is it help with education? I mean, I got a free education in this way, amazing. I will always be grateful for those things. But I feel like as if the social fabric in Sweden is about to break. I mean, in a lot of places. The politicians are not there for you, you know, they are there for themselves. Yeah, Jordan, that is true. It's still affordable than rest of Europe and especially in Portugal. But yeah, it is absolutely way more expensive. But I'm gonna be honest, from my experience, you know, I lived in a studio apartment now between 2023 and 2025 before I moved back to Porto because I lived here before. A student apartment in a little small boring town in the south Sweden, and I paid just under 700 euros a month. It made no sense paying that high, but I chose to live there because I really wanted to have my little own place while I was a student. So yeah, in a lot of ways Sweden is unacceptably expensive. It's actually stupidly expensive. If you, for example, you want to go out and have a drink in a bar, sometimes you have to pay 20 euros for a rum and coke, for example, or up to 10 euros for a damn bad beer, you know. I mean, beer is normally never bad, but not anything special, you know. I'm not talking about a German Weiss beer or a Guinness or anything like that. I'm talking about just a mediocre lager. And I am honestly saying this because taxes in a lot of ways is great. I think it used to be better than it is today, because also healthcare nowadays in Sweden is going down so bad, and of course everything costs a lot of money, and as long as the politicians is not getting what they want, I don't know where I want to go with this actually, but I know that there's a lot of influx of people that are not loyal to the places where they move, like immigration, and that is very critical. What do you ask yourself this? You're living in a little town and they're coming people like, I don't know, let's say you live in a town with, to make it easy, let's say you live in a town with 10,000 people. In a short period of time it comes like 10 people that you take in and you welcome these people, and they are custom and they accept your values and they have their personal beliefs, but they are not making a big deal out of it because they integrate very well. That's perfect, you know, they contribute, they want to be part of this local community, but they are a little bit different because they come from another place, just like me here in Portugal, in some aspects. And then you see the other example. You're living in a town with 10,000 people, but suddenly there is, I don't know, let's say 1,000 or 2,000 people with a completely different ethnic background and cultural values and traditions and rituals and symbolic understandings of who they are as a people. And they are loyal to their beliefs and their system of socially construct themselves as a group of people compared to your people. What is going to happen? Yeah, you will have a segregated society. And the fact that the politicians did that in Sweden, or is still doing that in Sweden, it tells me that the politicians don't have Swedish in their best interest. I'm gonna just be very blunt and honest. They don't give a fuck about you. That's what it gets down to. And I'm gonna say it one time now, that I don't believe in this system. I think this system is a scam, and males and guys has been demonized in a lot of ways because of feminist movements. I think feminism in some aspects I could probably agree with, but not this thing about that the man is the threat to all women. Because now in Sweden we see all everything is about egalitarianism and everything is about equality. Sweden is built on values of equality for a long time now. Hence, we have women now taking manager positions. The HR industry is filled with women, and it's just this, what's the word? It's this kind of, yeah, women is getting more and more powerful positions, and the result is that they are ending up alone. The more power women get, the more they end up being alone because they're too career driven. Because Swedish population going down, they need to outsource their citizens. I'm not sure what you mean with that, Jordan, actually. Swedish population going down, they need to outsource their citizens. I think you mean with a low birth rate. Yeah, but that's also the whole problem. It's not only in Sweden, it's actually the West in general. And China did the same, you know, they had the creepy government telling them that they can only have one child, you know, the one child policy. This is in another way. That was like a very totalitarian decision on a governance level. This thing in Sweden and also Portugal, it's more related to, and that's what I mean, I feel the system is a scam. You know, high taxes, the salaries are not going up with what let me try to phrase this right. The salaries is not going up in relation to inflation and prices and rents and all of these things. I mean, if you manage to take a loan, you will be a slave to it for the end of your life. It's so different generations ago, maybe two, 3 generations or more. You could really buy a house quite simple or quite easily and also maintain to start a family basically only on the contributor's salary, like the husband, the man's salary. Just forget about it today, you know. It's so I think you're talking about this low birth rate, and that is because, as I see it, it's almost as if it's by design. That I don't want to sound too conspiratorial because I think that is just making things take a wrong direction. But I am keeping an open mind, and I am reading a lot of different or listening to very smart people that are talking about economics in society in the West. How it seems to be like very competitive and even more difficult to have, like to have a lifestyle where you can actually save and invest. So yeah, I don't know where this is what is gonna happen actually with the West, to be honest. So that is a few things that's been on my mind lately, like a lot. I'm gonna continue to walk on further a little bit. I'm now in a like kind of north neighborhood in Porto, very local, because there's no way I go into downtown. That's not, I go there every now and then, of course, but I don't like it there. It's just full of, it's so full of people, you have no idea. It's tourists and locals obviously living there, but oh my god, how the prices has increased here in just 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The prices has increased like ridiculously unproportionally high. So yeah, life in Portugal versus Sweden. I would still say in some ways is better here, but I think even though the salary, the taxation is kind of the same in a lot of ways, but I feel that you would probably get more in Sweden still, even if it looks the way it looks now. I still think you get more in Sweden compared to here for the taxes you pay. But I'm still honest that I'm not a fan of taxes anymore. I think that you should be able to have more money in your own pocket and make your own decisions. It's not really that the healthcare is free, you know. So a lot of it is an illusion. It's an illusion that the politicians and government is selling to you to kind of justify, and the fact that the government is just spreading out and becoming more and more like a growing disease. And inefficiency of that is horrible. There is so many people in Sweden that are depending on the system, and so many corrupted people that are just sucking out on it. I met people that are just talking about, I think I work home just because it's sunny. You know, they decide, but they are not working. You know, there's nobody that's checking them. And they lift maybe salaries up to 5, 6, 7,000 per month. Like for a normal kind of how do I say that? Municipality position. It is hilarious. Let's see what you say here, guys. Government not. Why then are the government supporting people to have extra children? That's actually a good point. Pagano, that is a good point. Why the government's not support? I actually think that there should be some kind of initiative for government to stimulate, and maybe even in some way, because there's so high taxes, why not start to implement policies that will make it more beneficial for couples to have more children. I believe that Hungary is doing something like that. They like if a woman has more than 2 children, she will be free of paying taxes for the rest of her life, something like that. Like cleared of paying taxes. I'm definitely a fan of that. But yeah, it's totally out of my control. Although I could definitely work for a governmental position, and there have been times when I am applying for some positions for municipalities or basically governmental positions. I still believe in some aspects of working for it, but then again I'm kind of hypocritical because I say I don't believe in the system anymore, and even though I'm well educated for those positions also, they are so difficult to just get an answer, you know. Some people are not even getting back to you. So I just kind of start feeling like I want to move another direction, not working for the government. To be honest, I don't know what the heck is gonna happen now in the next chapter of my life. I am hopeful though. Today is September 1st, and I really feel like I need to kind of make now honest. I mean, I've been thinking already for years. Although I've also been working and sustaining myself, now I'm in this weird place where it's really time for me to figure something out. And I am working on that a lot, with personal projects and also applications for jobs. They can't colonize anymore, so it will be really hard for the West. China will rule for a while. Yeah, you know, I am afraid so, unless West is really showing some strength, and Europe being just like, I mean, I'm talking about all countries in Europe, is difficult because we are so different cultures and ethnicities. But if we could all just unite under being a European force, then we have a real capacity, you know, because it's a lot of people. We could have a huge military, and become then like a bridge, a strong bridge in alignment with the US to strengthen our muscles, basically, to not let China stretch out anymore. But China is for sure a huge player in the geopolitical relations. Did you go to USA? They pay tax, yet still can get free healthcare because we pay tax in Europe. So we get the free healthcare and education. Yeah, I've been to the United States 3 times. And yeah, it's obviously very different. I think it's also it's so different depending on the state. But I'm not very well read on the actual healthcare systems. I know that there are, if you have a job, you know, most of the time you will get help with healthcare. I don't know, maybe if you're working a very low paid job without contract or something, I don't know. But then normally you should have a healthcare through your work. That's what I did here in Portugal, for example. I had my private healthcare insurance, which was great, and dentist. But yeah, the fact that it costs so much for university in the United States is absolutely too much. But then again, in Sweden, I got it for free, but it's not really for free because there is huge amounts on each paycheck that you pay into something that you don't necessarily get back. To try what you say with European Union, but it didn't work. It won't work if we won't get Turkey is a solid military population as we believe in the Union, so it's also weakened. Yeah, I have kind of mixed opinions about both Turkey and UK leaving, but Turkey, I don't know, they are kind of it's a dictatorship there, and this guy, I don't know, he's part of European Union, part of NATO. No, not part of European Union, but part of NATO. And also kind of friendly with Putin, you know, as what I understand. I don't know, I'm skeptic. I don't trust Erdogan at all. He's like a real Turk. And UK leaving, yeah, I mean, there are sometimes I feel as it would be better if Sweden left European Union also, because I don't like that. I don't want any country, any part of the world go towards a feudalism society where you have just a centralized power. I think that we can still have a lot of trade deals, let's say Sweden with other, yeah, like a trade deal with, but actually European Union is a trade deal, so it is already focused on trade, you know, free movement of people, free movement of products and services, and that whole neoliberal what can I call it? Neoliberal idea, I guess it is, because it's built on trade. I just don't like that centralized power in Brussels, that there are overpaid politicians there, like extremely overpaid, deciding about ridiculous decisions on local levels. And they say that themselves, that actually, I think it's called subsidiarity principle. There's some principle in European that as many decisions should be taken on local level, but it's not always necessarily the truth. Now, I don't know, man. It's sometimes I feel as if the Brits really got their shit together and said no. What's going on there now? But that's also a thing I want to mention. You know, there are so much going on in the world that I don't even know about being real anymore. We are fed so many narratives, so many different agendas, so much crap on social media that we are already consuming material we don't know whether they are true or AI made, you know. I don't know. And in a way it's creepy, but it's also a kind of a wake-up call. You start to realize if you can't trust anything of conflicts going on, or how they are shaped, or narrative is built and stuff like that, you kind of feel like you're losing touch with reality also. But that can feel scary at first, but then you kind of just opening your mind and thinking that how a lot of things can be constructed. But some people will they will just see what's on the news, the governmental news, for example, just like in Sweden, is huge governmentally owned, and they will just buy it right off, you know. This is exactly what is happening. And yeah, it kind of boggles me that people still don't understand that there might be actually another truth to the reality than what is played in front of you. And I think it's just going to be worse. I think mental health is going to increase. I think we're going to see a whole lot of more problems in society, especially with the youth, because the older generations, they basically have, most likely they are already kind of well set up. They just say, you just have to work harder. It's not about that anymore. There is so many things that changing fast, and the currencies are getting worthless. Not worthless, but they're getting way less worth compared to, because the inflation is just eating it. You know, I think that inflation is just another way to push. It's another taxation methodology, another taxation method. I went to, you know, Istanbul at Antalya. It isn't what you told us, not arrogant people. Istanbul is much more civilized than Arab city. Yeah, absolutely. I don't say anything against that. I've been there myself also. And highly civilized, of course. There is not many cities you can go today that are not very civilized. Everything is globalized. And that's the thing. I also read that recently, and I know that from before. A lot about globalization was to make things cheaper. So the fact when we are pushed this manipulative and consumeristic agenda, if you wish, that everything is scarcity. You know, some brands, they are very expensive and overpriced because they are just exclusive price. But think about it like a fancy I'm not going to mention any brands now because I don't want to say these brands, because I think I don't like them, you know. They say they are very scarce and they are very limited. But basically you can get a luxury handbag or whatever it might be, like a very expensive watch, you know, any of these expensive prices. You can get them in any big city, you know. They are most of the time not far away from where we live. You mentioned Istanbul, for example, you can get it there. Here in Portugal, I can go down to the downtown to get the most scarce product or limited fancy luxury watch or handbag or you name it, you know. It's an illusion. It's a scam. And that is printed into so many people's minds because of especially social media. It's sad. I am personally like start to look more and more about, once I need to buy something, I'm just gonna go to the vintage stores, because it's not worth what you're paying anymore. I feel like, sure, there are still products out there with a very good quality, and maybe these luxury brands, but just think about some classic pants, you know, jeans that used to be very good quality, working class, working pants, clothes back in the day. Today it's just manufactured with the lowest grade of quality in China or wherever it is, and still being sold overpriced. You're paying for a brand. Yeah, I'm so fed up with it. I'm really fed up with it, and a lot of life is just becoming ridiculous. I may sound very pessimistic here, but I'm just being realistic, you know. I think I'm gonna leave it with that here. I'm gonna go and buy a water, doing some changes in my life. Have to, you know, because we just gotta do it. But yeah, in general, life here is still, yeah, you know, I'm gonna be kind of shallow now considering the weather. Like, of course, it's more mild than Sweden, something that I appreciate also. Because when I think about it, growing up where it's so much snow and so cold, like that doesn't make sense to me anymore. Why would you want to live like that? But yeah, it's hard, you know, it's sad in a lot of ways also. It's sad to be away from family, it's sad to miss family. I'm here now for a little bit over a month. I don't know how much longer it will be, if I will now stay here fully or I don't know. It's buying water. Never understood that one. Guess I should be selling water. I don't know where you're coming from, man, but buying water, never understood that one. Yeah, so what is better? Are you just gonna buy another Coca-Cola? Yeah, go ahead. I would prefer just buying water. There are free water, of course, in the park here, but I'm trying to stay away from that one because of other reasons that I've seen. And here, speaking of water, it's so cheap here. You can get a water for 17 cents. Yeah, that's always better, of course, to just tap it up from home for sure. No, but I always did that, you know. When I'm out exercising here in Portugal, I always, after I finished, I stop by the shop here and I just buy a bottle for small one. You can maybe even find for cheaper than 17 cents, or you buy a big one which is 40 cents. For me, 40 cents is roughly 4 crowns, Swedish crowns, which I mean, adding it all up, it becomes a lot of money from the day I started. But water is something that is important to me, especially when you exercise. It's just a preference. And I can really feel the autumn starting here now. The autumn is definitely starting. Yeah, in Sweden also, it's very expensive with water in Sweden. I think a big bottle you pay similarly to that price, $3. Why I moved to Portugal, Bram? It's really a good question, but I mean I have lived abroad in other countries before, but I just felt as if I wanted to live again, like more a normal life, not just as a traveling backpacker or something like that. I just, yeah, you know, that's a lot what I talk about in this video. I just think it's kind of a lot of ways it's better here. It's a lot of people from other countries moving here. Like I say, it's still great. Porto is a great city. It's a lot of activities, a lot of cultural events. The weather is great. I mean, in the winter it rains kind of a lot and it's very humid. I would say it's kind of equal to San Francisco actually. It's better here, like I talked in the beginning of the video, some of the things financially better. like I mentioned here in just a few minutes ago, you can go out and have a bottle of water for, yeah, let's say 40 cents. You can go to have some beers for very cheap. You can go eat out for a reasonably good price, like fresh, healthier food. Sweden is also very healthy with foods, but the climate here, just the general feeling, you know, I cannot explain that. It's different for everyone. Maybe you would have a feeling that you did not like if you came here, but for me it was ever since I lived in Lisbon before also, but I like Porto more. It's just a personal feeling that is personal to me, I guess. I do not speak the language. It's something that I feel kind of bad about that I don't speak yet. And I have my excuses, but they are poor. They are really poor, but I can say them anyway. When I moved here, first moved here, it was like sticking around in international circles. English is always convenient. Everyone speaks English, or not everyone, but a lot of people speak it with you. When you date, you speak in English. Where I worked, you speak my language and English. And then Portuguese is also known for being very difficult. And I personally just always had difficulty to learn another language, except from English for some reason. I always adored the English language. Maybe it's because, you know, growing up I traveled to United States. A lot of pop culture is in English. I just feel as if it's sometimes even my native language in a way. It sounds silly to say that because it's not, but I do a lot in English. I speak it daily with my girlfriend. I write in English. I do everything in English basically. It is amazing here. It is so many beautiful places to go around here. If I had a car, I would like to see more of the nature here. But I do still. I still had a chance to see a lot of the nature with friends, like driving through the country, taking trains, taking buses to other cities. So I don't have a lot to complain on. Hey, Harvesting Now, how you doing? In Porto, people are really kind and can speak English. And I also went to City Walk, and it's all you can. All right, City Walk. I'm not sure where that is actually. Harvesting Now, yeah, I am. I'm here since actually from the beginning, 2018, but now recently I've been back and forth, and I'm here since about a little bit more than a month now. But yeah, I've basically been going back and forth since I moved back to Sweden in 2023, and then as a student I was going here to see my girlfriend and doing field work. And now I'm kind of finished with that. I mean, I am finished with that, so now I'm here trying to see what is my next chapter in life. Go to City Walk, man, I recommend it. All right, I will check it out. Is it here in Porto? So are you also living here or what? What do you think about Portugal adapting the foreigner laws like Japan is doing now? I'm not familiar. I think, are you talking about the law with handing out citizenship? Because I know that Portugal made some change about that. They are going to keep it like you can grant it, or you can apply for it after 10 years. It used to be 5. I could actually apply for it before, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I didn't do it anyway. Fatima, I think I have not actually. No, I've never been to Fatima, but I heard about this place. It's more, is it kind of central, near Coimbra maybe? A very religious town. I heard it's a very spiritual place. Japan is kicking out foreigners and making visa issues in years. Oh, really? Maybe I've heard something about that. Actually, it rings a little bell. Yeah, I mean, Japan is not bullshitting around, you know, like Sweden. They like to bullshit around, and I kind of see no problem with that, to be honest. If you not have the right to be somewhere, there's a reason why they do that then. But then sometimes if they're doing it without proper grounds, that's really sad. All right, you wanna go there, yeah? No, I mean, I could have seen so much more of Portugal if I really wanted, but I've not seen the south, I've not seen Alentejo, I've seen around Lisbon, I've seen Setúbal, Sesimbra, not Évora, but I've seen Figueira de Foz, Coimbra, Aveiro, Espinho, Viana do Castelo in the north. I've seen most in the north, I've seen Guarda. Actually, I've seen a bit, but there's more to see, but yeah, I will see. I don't know if I really feel the need right now in my life to like see so many things. Right now I'm just focused on trying to see what is my next chapter with work and career and everything. Sintra is amazing, yeah. I've been there. I can't even count how many times I've been there. Maybe 10, maybe 15 times. And now I'm speaking about the city. I'm not talking about the park. The park I maybe been to 5, 6, 7 times. We traveled to Portugal every year for the last 2 years. You should stay for more than a week if you can. I feel like there is a long. It depends where you're flying from, of course. But you can see kind of a bit in a week, I guess. If Portugal will ever do the same that with foreigners that Japan did, it's a good question. I think there is a chance. I think there is a chance for it, yeah. And I think it's because there is too many people with that maybe don't really have the right to be here, and that is sad to say. But now I'm talking about people that whole neighborhoods change. Like there's a neighborhood in Lisbon. I saw a video. I was there actually myself in January, I believe it was. January, February, probably January. And I went to this neighborhood and I know it's a lot of immigrants. And I just don't understand how it can be a whole neighborhood where there's no Portuguese. But then again, in America and a lot of places in the world, you have Chinatown, you have Italian neighborhoods. Like it can work, you know. I'm not necessarily against it. As long as they are not start like with some kind of bullshit like, you know, crime, demanding their rights, you know, as a minority to be implemented politically. I think that is unacceptable. Like in Sweden, start to force kids to wear these clothes that cover you completely up, which is a very, very destructive symbol for the religion. If you are 18 years of age, your legal age, and you want to wear it because it's something that you want, you know, unless you're working in a public position for the government, which should be neutral, you have the right to wear whatever the fuck you want. I'm very open-minded in this way. I just don't want the people to force their minority rights onto me. You know, you came there, you need to accept the current traditions, the current ethnicity, and not to demand change after change after change, you know. We made that trip for a long time ago, you know, I'm talking from Sweden. We made that journey, like, through enlightenment. through to separate religion, church and state, to become a secular society. And then whatever belief you have, you can have that inside of your own home. You don't have to preach it and try to make legislations for it for the majority society. No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's amazing harvesting now. That place seems wonderful. It happened October 13, 1917. That's amazing. I need to read about that. I heard people say it's really lovely and special there. Thank you for commenting my English. My study field, I did recently completed my master's in social anthropology, so I'm an anthropologist now. And I'm very happy that I took the decision to move to Sweden and take this degree. It was a challenge, but I did really well actually, and I find it so interesting and how I can apply this basically mostly analytical and methodological tools, I guess you can say, on my future jobs. That's what I'm interested in. Who's forcing anything on me? I'm not talking about me individually. I'm talking more societally. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with macro perspective. I'm talking about a larger perspective, if you can think about that. You know, what if a child can be trans? I say, give them freedom to wear hijab. Yeah. That's another example, you know, with that movement, you know. I have no problem with someone want to call themselves whatever, you know. Just don't force me to, don't just legit say, how do I say this? Make that a legal obligation for me, because I know there's only, biologically speaking, two sexes. And that is controversial to say in today's society, but that's just how it is. And then you can come up with whatever alternative, I guess, genders as you want. It doesn't concern me, but if you're born a man, you will be a man to me, and if you're born a woman, you will be a woman to me. But I will say that I can call you whatever you want if that makes you happier in your illusion, you know, in your worldview. But I can also tell you the truth, what is the truth for me. But I can say out of respect what you would like to be referred as. No problem. But I can also say my truth because I know what you were, if I know what you were born as, you know. I can keep two thoughts in the head at the same time. Some of these people, they unfortunately cannot. And that's why I think a lot of times this is also a little bit bordering mental illness. Not always, sometimes there is probably someone who really feel born in the wrong body or something like that. I respect that. It's if whatever makes you happy, man or girl. It's very simple, Lainey, yeah. Yeah, right, Adrian. It's not controversial to state facts, actually. It's just that in today's society, it's kind of like there are forces or ideologies or agendas that want to force things that is controversial, but when it's actually not. Yeah, time lapse. It seems in the United States, like what the heck is going on there? It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild, man. And it's sad, you know. Right, to be honest, right now I'm not interested in going to the United States again. Sure, there are places I would really like to go and I like to see. It's beautiful nature and fantastic things to see, and it's funny people saying that United States don't have a culture. It's ridiculous. There is so much culture in that country. everything from native Indians, from the Native Americans to the Wild West culture to uh, the muscle cars. You know, I'm very interested about classic vintage muscle car era. That's a culture in itself. You have the like nature areas, Appalachian area. You have northern England, New England states, which has a lot of interesting culture also. I mean, there's culture wherever you look. Some people just want to deny it and they want to have some kind of points from saying that just because United States, a lot of English came there to conquer, you know, and they think that has to define today. Exactly, that's what I feel also, and it's also funny when you speak with some of these people that you just want common sense back. Some people just say like, oh, what is that? That common sense, you cannot simplify it. Yes, sometimes it is. Go back to what used to work, you know, go back to what worked before. And then sometimes maybe we need to be more progressive about. I don't know, to be honest, right now on the top of my head, but generally just look at what worked before. Yeah, it pisses me off a little bit. It's so much scams. It's so much inefficiency in government, and yeah, I don't know. You already know the answer, Ronaldo or Messi. Oh, that's difficult, you know. I really like football, of course. I don't really keep up with any one of those players. Messi won World Cup, Ronaldo did not. I don't know who scored the most goals. I don't know. I feel maybe Ronaldo is just a more stronger, powerful, physical player. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. You really have to teach your kids sense. Kids grow up on phone. Yeah, so scary that, man. That's oof. You just see small kids sitting in the trolley or in the baby trolleys, baby cars, or you know, and don't know what they're watching. It's like totally growing up in a simulation. It is. Yeah, I thank you all for checking in. We are going in for an hour here. I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe there were so many that came into the chat and had a little nice conversation. It's always appreciated. I appreciate you guys. So till next time, I really had to make this rant because I have so much stuff on my head right now. Talk to you soon. You guys take care.